of your questions that you've sent in. First of all, I'm putting the questions to current MP and Conservative candidate, Andrew Selous. Andrew, first question. Please could you explain to me why I should bother voting at all, what difference it makes, and what the difference is between what you do, the Town Council and Central Beds Council do? How does it all work together? And if my taxes are paying for all of this and we need to save money, can we get rid of some of it?
Quite a lot of questions there, but I'll try and take them in turn. First of all, why should people vote? Well, I think it's fantastically important to vote, and I think I'd almost say I'd rather you went out and voted for anyone at all, even if it's not me, rather than didn't bother to vote at all. I think we need to remember people died for the right to vote, and if we look at people in South Africa and Iraq and places like that which have just got the right to vote recently, I think it's quite shaming that more numbers turn out in those countries than turn out here. Democracy really matters, and what happens in Parliament really matters. This general election will decide who forms the government of our country. We've got some very big questions facing our country. What we do with the debt facing us, how we get our economy back on track, how we get growth again, how we get new jobs, how we can run our health service better, our schools better, what we do about what's happening in society. These are really big issues that will be decided at this general election, so that matters very much indeed. In terms of what MPs do as opposed to what local councils do, MPs' job is to, well, first of all, the MPs from the governing party, some of them will become ministers and run the government. It's the job of all MPs, so to scrutinise what the government does and make sure that they use taxpayers' money as efficiently as possible and make sure that laws passed are as useful as they can be and as well drafted as they can be. I mean, MPs are different from local councillors in that we have a national role as well as standing up for individual constituents and championing our constituency. The Town Council has a role looking after matters within the town, parks and playgrounds and matters like that. Well, Central Bedfordshire Council, which is a merger, of course, of the old Bedfordshire County Council and South Beds District Council, that runs our schools, our social services, our roads, our leisure facilities, and is our sort of principal local council. And we have just got rid of 2 councils in Bedfordshire to go down to 1 because we've got rid of South Beds District and Bedfordshire County Council. So there has been a bit of rationalisation there, and so that's what people's taxes go to pay for. But we now have one less tier of local government than we did a few years ago.
My wife's employer encourages flexible working, but often she has to travel to London 2 to 3 times a week. When buying a train ticket, she has to buy individual tickets for each journey at an inflated price compared to a yearly season ticket. When central government should be encouraging mothers back to work and flexible working, what incentives would your government introduce to encourage home and flexible working and not penalise those who commute to London less than 5 days a week?
Well, I think that's a really good question, if I may say so, and I'm very positive about flexible working, about employers offering jobs on a part-time or flexible basis and allowing employees as much flexibility as possible. And I think there's actually a lot of evidence that this is good for business, and it's not a sort of regulation on business allowing this to happen. It actually encourages loyalty, and there's a lot of evidence as well that it increases productivity as far as employees are concerned. I'm certainly aware about the issue of train fares, and that I think they have gone up recently for people wanting to travel to London outside the peak hours. I think there's always probably going to be a discount for the season ticket traveller just because they are using the train so much, and season tickets are very expensive. One issue I have taken up with London Midland recently is just to allow them to extend the period at which people can travel on reduced fares slightly further. I think there's a train that leaves Euston 2 minutes or 3 minutes after the cut-off period, and a lot of people, particularly working parents, have said to me that this makes life really difficult for them. They can't get back to get their children out of nursery or to relieve child carers or nannies or whoever they have looking after their children because of this. So that is certainly an issue I'm pursuing with London Midland. As a party, we have said we will increase the right to request to work flexible hours for parents whose children are up to the age of 18. It's only up to the age of 16 at the moment. I personally would like to go further than that. And we've also said that we will require Job Centre Plus to ask employers when they bring jobs to job centres to ask whether those jobs can be done on a flexible or part-time basis. There really is everything to recommend this. I mean, many people just, it's too big a step to go from being unemployed to working full-time. So working part-time or flexible work, is a really important first step to help people get back into the world of work. And of course, many people have caring responsibilities, whether that's for children or elderly or sick relatives. So it's really about making the world of work fit round our lives. And I think philosophically, why should we have to sell either all of our time or none of our time in order to work? So I'd like to see a really big transformation. Of course, the big environmental benefits that people can work from home and can work at different hours. That helps reduce traffic jams on our roads, makes the trains less crowded, and that's obviously really important for a town like Leighton Buzzard, which is a big commuter town.
Do you think parents or the state are responsible for bringing up children?
I think parents have the primary responsibility to bring up children, but of course they do look to the state for good schools and good children's services.
In that case, assuming the CSF bill will not make it through the wash-up, what are your plans for elective home education?
Right, the question relates to the Children's Schools and Families bill, which is currently before Parliament, but I think unlikely to get passed before the general election. And I've had contact from a lot of parents here in Leighton Buzzard who currently homeschool their children, and they are worried about very onerous provisions within the bill which they think would give sort of inspectors overly intrusive powers to come into their home to talk to their children without the parents being present and so on. I think we're always going to need some oversight to make sure that children who are being educated at home are getting a good education. But I have to say, all the parents that I've seen, they are really committed to their children's education. All the parents who actually are educating their children at home at the moment. They make sure the children meet up with other children so they're not isolated, so they do develop social skills, they all meet together. But overall, they strike me as a group of incredibly dedicated parents who really are trying to do the best for their children. So I think we shouldn't be making life more difficult for them if people want to take on this very big responsibility as far as their children are concerned.